5:30. The date is April the 16th, 2024. We will call to order the meeting for the Statesboro Mayor and Council. We will have our invocation and pledge of allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Sherry Hart.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, friends and neighbors. My church teaches me that I am one small point in the interdependent web of all existence, and that the highest potential for my one little life is by working together with others to do good the best we can see how. So I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to work with the mayor and the council and city staff to do what we can to maintain a good quality of life here in Statesboro. For our invocation this afternoon, I'd like to share with you words written by Mother Teresa. This is entitled A Lifelong Sharing. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing. A lifelong sharing of love with others. May it be so. Please rise as you're able and let's pledge allegiance to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move down to agenda item 3. We have 2 items on the recognition and public presentations. The first item is going to be a proclamation recognizing April 24th as Fair Housing Month. I think those of us that's been coming to the meetings and paying attention to the city of Statesboro, we put a lot into neighborhood revitalization and working to make sure this city is a great place to call home for everyone. But we do want to recognize that this is Fair Housing Month and those that work in the field to make all of these things possible. And it reads as follows: a proclamation by the Mayor and City Council of Statesboro, Georgia, Fair Housing Month. Whereas the Fair Housing Act, enacted on April 11, 1968, enshrined into federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, familial status, national origin, and disability, and commits recipients for federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities, and whereas the city of Statesboro is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all, and whereas our social fabric, the economy, health, and environment are strengthened in diverse, inclusive communities, and whereas more than 50 years after the passage of the Fair Housing Act, discrimination persists, and many communities remain segregated. And whereas acts of housing discrimination and barriers to equal housing opportunity are repugnant to a common sense decency and fairness. Now, therefore, I, Jonathan McCullough, Mayor of the City of Statesboro, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Fair Housing Month in the City of Statesboro as an inclusive community committed to fair housing and to promoting appropriate activities by private and public entities to provide and advocate for equal housing opportunities for all residents and prospective residents of Statesboro. I, in witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Statesboro to be affixed the 16th day of April in the year 2024. Who will?
So moved. Don't move.
Good deal, congratulations. Thank you. We'll move down to agenda 3B under recognition and public presentation. This next one goes to Ms. Venus Mack, our former council member. It's a presentation of a certificate to council member for her completion of the Robert E. Knox Jr. Municipal Leadership Institute. Now, I'm going to say this. I know often it seems like government does not know what it's doing. But here on this council, we take a lot of effort into working towards getting our credentials so that we can be our best selves and do the best things for this community. This is not an easy process, but Venus, congratulations. Thank you for everything. And we want to share this. This is not an ordinary credential. It comes from the Carl Vinson Institute of Government and the Georgia Municipal Association, and is tendered by the University of Georgia. So congratulations for all of the work that you've done and all of the work that you've done to move this city forward. We thank you. Woo. Yeah, council. Girl.
Just the two of you first, or all of us? All of us.
Yeah.
Come on.
We got some family, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You gonna bring them in?
Yeah, come on, family.
I know some of these. Pictures. Y'all doing good? Yeah, little bit.
Y'all gotta get a little closer, tighter.
Act like y'all love it.
Like we like each other.
Hold on, let me get in.
There you go. There you go.
And you need to step a little bit more, into that hole. Okay.
We good?
Can you see?
All right, everybody look at us. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Thank
You got it? All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Leah, do we have anyone signed up for public comments?
No, Mr.
On anything
Mayor.
for the agenda? No, okay. All right, thank you. All right, we'll move down to agenda item 5, which is consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda. Item A is the approval of our minutes from our April 2nd council and executive session minutes. And then item 5B is consideration of a motion to approve surplus and disposition of a 1997 Ford F-350 in the Public Works Department. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, citing that item 5 is passed, we'll move down to agenda item 6, which is a public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve application RZ 24-03-01. Nakira Box requests a zoning map amendment from the light industrial zoning district to the mixed use zoning district on approximately 0.31 acres of property in order to develop a walk-up restaurant at 193 West Main Street. If we will, can we open the public hearing for this?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Kathy, if you'll give us some insight on this.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Currently, the property is a vacant restaurant located on West Main Street. The existing zoning for the property is light industrial, which under the former Statesboro zoning ordinance had very minimal restrictions on use type. Under the Unified Development Code, however, Restaurants are not an allowed use in the light industrial district, and the grandfather status for restaurants is no longer available due to a lapse in use. And you can see the parcel outlined in red at the intersection of Martin Luther King on West Main Street. The future land use map shows this to be in the residential redevelopment character area. The current zoning shows the existing light industrial zoning district. And the subject property is on the top left, property to the east on the bottom right, property to the west on the top left, and property to the south on the bottom right. Staff does recommend approval of RZ 24-03-01. If this petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated condition. 1, approval of the zoning map amendment does not grant the right to develop on the site without approval. All construction must be approved by the city. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on April 2nd, 2024, the commission recommended approval of the request and staff conditions upon a 6-to-1 vote. Thank you. That is my presentation.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak for this request? Is there anyone here to speak against this request? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, is there any council discussion? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, just tell them to fix my plate. All right. All right, congratulations to those folks. We'll move down to agenda item 7, recognizing that agenda item 6 has passed. Agenda item 7 reads as follows. Public hearing, consideration of a motion to approve application sub 24-03-02. Simcoe Investment Group LLC requests a preliminary subdivision plat on approximately 26.32 acres of property in order to construct 152 townhome units on Jones Mill Road. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Kathy, if you would.
Currently, the property is a timbered 26-acre lot located on the intersection of Jones Mill Road and Veterans Memorial Bypass. The applicant has recently conducted timbering operations on the site to prepare for site development and has completed all required permitting through the Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission and city staff review. The applicant has also installed erosion control measures to the site in order to obtain their land disturbance permit. And you can see the site located on Jones Mill Road, and the left side shows the Veterans Memorial Parkway bypass. The future land use map shows this to be located in an established residential neighborhood. The current zoning is R2, which they had obtained previously. And you can see the subject site is currently being timbered, and it's shown on the top left. Property to the north is shown on the bottom right. Property to the northwest on the top left, and the property to the northeast on the bottom right. And this is a preliminary site plan of their subdivision plan. You can see it's 152 units of townhomes. Staff does recommend approval of SUB 24-03-02. If this petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. 1, approval of this preliminary subdivision plat does not grant the right to develop without individual building permits. All buildings must be approved by the city. 2, the final plat must meet all requirements of the Unified Development Code before any units may be sold in the subdivision. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on April 2nd, 2024, The commission recommended approval of the request and staff conditions upon a 7-0 vote. That is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Is there anyone here to speak for this request?
Good afternoon. My name is Keith Stevens with EMC Engineering here in Statesboro, here on behalf of Simcoe Investment Group. Thank you, Ms. Kathy, for the introduction. She basically covered everything. We've already submitted to the city and to all other state agencies. We have approval from all agencies. There was one concern that came up from the neighboring subdivision for stormwater, and as during our engineering design, we already addressed that concern with the culverts under Jones Mill. We showed that as of right now, it is not functioning as it should. So we're adding a third pipe under Jones Mill as part of our development. And I'd be happy to address any questions.
We'll do that when council discussion.
Sure. Thank you.
Anybody else to speak for? Anyone here to speak against?
Hello, my name is Stephen Rigg. I live in Bel Air, which is the property adjacent to where the construction is going on. As a neighborhood, we're concerned about the encroachment into the pond. We understood that there was going to be a buffer around the lake and the pond, adjacent to us. And it seems like a lot of trees, a lot more trees than which were originally planned for, have been cut down, including many white oaks, gum trees, and other trees. And another concern we have is where the property line is, which the property line for that property is in the center of the lake. So the construction is on the north side or the west side, and we're on the east side. Where that property line is there's a spill well that controls all the water for that pond. We have several houses on this pond. There's a path which several of our neighbors go back and clear the spill well, occasionally when it gets blocked up because the water does encroach into our backyards. We're worried about what's going to happen to that spill well because recently the path that we go back there to clean it out, the construction company uprooted a large tree and placed the tree in the path so that we can't get our carts back there to pull the debris out and come back. And we were just wondering what was going to go on with that spill well and what they were planning on doing with that, because we're worried.
All right, so we'll address that during council discussion. That's a great concern. Okay. All right, anybody else to speak for or against?
My name's John Oldmix, and I live in Bel Air Estates, across the pond from the new subdivision being proposed. I was at the last planning meeting, and they talked about a 20-foot buffer. Okay, there is no 20-foot buffer right now. What you have left is the right-of-way that was already there as part of the Bel Air Associates right-of-way on that side of the pond. They basically cut to their property line. I understood in that council meeting that there was supposed to be a 20-foot buffer. Now, that buffer should be on their property, the new site for construction. Not taken into consideration. Thank you for not cutting trees that weren't on your property. That was neighborly of you. But you cut all the way to the line. If there's a 20-foot buffer, it's supposed to be on that side of the line. So that all needs to be planted back. They've already taken down out behind my house. I live at the end. There's about an 80-foot section that there are no trees. There's just one big old bush. So they even went past the line. Mm-hmm. So I'd like it in the minutes before y'all decide. I know we can't stop this from coming. I'm not for this. I think we're making a big mistake. 151 townhouses is going to create a heck of a traffic jam at the end of Jones Mill. And you already put 200 and some on Beasley Road. You're not going to be able to get around that neighborhood for anything. You're not going to be able to come and go. But that's just my prediction. I'm not for this, but I know I can't stop it. But if they're supposed to have a 20-foot buffer, then that buffer needs to be put back in before we start construction. Because as soon as they put the containment pond, the stormwater containment pond,
then they're gonna say, oh, we can't get those 20-foot cedar trees over in that spot. So it needs to be planted back before anything of actual moving forward on construction of that property. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. All right, anybody else for or against?
My name is Sidna Davidson, and I currently reside in the Bel Air area. Just a quick little thing, since I was just predicting 152 townhome units. Let's just average, we have 2 adults per unit, which I'm sure there'll be way more than that, but that brings it to 314. You're putting a lot of homes there without any changes in our traffic patterns. It's very concerning when we look at the bypass. I propose even at least put in the thought process a light, a traffic light that would help protect the residents of that area, because like John said, there's going to be lots of traffic already where Jim and Nick's and the new buildings are in the front side. We've heard in the last 2 weeks some terrible accidents out there and deaths as well. And now you're putting it at the back end of that entrance, and so you're adding lots and lots of traffic flow. So please consider putting something to protect the people, the residents that are already there and those that are coming. Thank you.
Anyone else for or against? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing? Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
We want to open it up for council discussion. And if council will allow me to ask the first question, and that's to staff in regards to the buffering. What's that conversation as far as development in the buffer?
Mr. Mayor, with your permission, I'd like to ask our city engineer, David, to address that question for you.
Good evening. The buffers are required to be there, but if they had left just some large pine trees, they're not much of a buffer. So they actually have to come back and plant approved species that are in our plan that will grow up and make a buffer. You know, something that'll grow thicker. You know, what was there was underbrush and a few tall trees, not a real screening.
Okay.
So they have some options to do like a fence and trees or a lot of trees.
Okay.
So,
Can I get David to introduce himself?
sorry.
Yeah.
David Moyer, Assistant City Engineer.
Okay. Thank you, David. All right, so does that answer your question as far as buffering?
Once I see it, yes.
Okay. All right. So now I'll turn it over to council.
Thank you, Bel Air folks, for showing up, for caring. I have been watching it and hearing from folks and very concerned, very disappointed the trees weren't left on the edges like we hoped there would be. I'm also being educated that sometimes that's not practical. I mean, it seemed to me so obvious, just leave the edges, don't go all the way to the edges. But if you come up to the edge and destroy the roots of the ones that are already there, they're gonna fall down anyway. So I'm learning lots of not particularly happy information in my effort to preserve trees and keep us as green as we can be. I share your frustration. I know some of you folks have had birds and fox and all kind of beautiful things right out your back door within a walk, and now it's just dirt. And I hate it. It makes me sad to see that happening. And we don't have enough places for people to live. The people already here, much less all the ones already coming. I share your concerns about traffic. Traffic studies are being done. We just heard about our comprehensive transportation plan, trying to deal with it. I mean, we really are trying to do the best we can. And we need folks to keep us honest and keep coming and asking the questions. It's been disappointing to me sometimes to say, oh, okay, it's going to be all right. We're going to have a vegetative buffer. And then I come back 2 months later, and they're little bushes 6 feet apart, which doesn't feel like much of a buffer. So we do what we can, and we rely on staff to hold developers to the rules, and we make the rules as good as we can to protect people already here and allow the developers to make something that people want to live in. We do have protections in place about the green space in the townhomes, and staff will make sure the developers do what they have to do. So thank you for coming. I'm sorry I hurt with you at the loss of all those trees. And we'll do what we can. They have to plant some back. We know little new trees are not gonna do what those big, beautiful old trees did, but they will eventually grow. There's requirements about how much they have to put in and how big the canopy can be and trying to restore it and maintain it. So thank you for caring, and I appreciate staff. I appreciate developers coming and building these places we need and working with staff to make it as smooth a transition as we can. I'm sorry, and thank you. Yes.
I've got one more question about the,
Come to the podium.
the 151 townhouses. Is this low-income housing? Is this gonna depreciate my property? And if it does, are you gonna lower my taxes that I've been getting raised every year for 24 years? Is
Okay. Well.
this low-income housing?
Yeah, that's a, and I forget, and it's a.
Well, I don't think anybody's heard that answer yet.
The council needs to deal with the final plat.
Yeah.
That, your question will not determine whether they vote for it or not. After they take action, we will answer your question.
So what is my recourse if my property value starts to drop because of low-income housing?
Well, sir, you don't know that it's low income housing, and what I just said is, at the council, all they're doing is approving a final plat.
Okay,
After
and
that,
again,
after they take that action, I'll answer your
if
question.
it is low-income housing, what is my
Sir,
recourse?
after they take action, I will answer your question.
Okay, and when will that be?
We're about to take action now.
I see, thank you.
Anybody else well, we're in council discussion, I'm sorry. Any further council discussion?
Yeah, my concern was the last lady that died. What's your name? I'm sorry.
Sidna Davidson.
Sydney?
Sidna.
Sidna. You know, I traveled down that area quite some bit since all of the new development with the new restaurants. And it is kind of congested in that area. So she was proposing maybe like a traffic light to kind of just break or control some of that traffic. Is that an option?
So it would be based on GDOT warrants. So the Georgia Department of Transportation requires that you meet certain warrants. There have to be peak hour, morning or 8 a.m. or p.m. traffic counts taken. GDOT, because the bypass is controlled by the Georgia Department of Transportation, so they won't allow you just to install the traffic signal because you want to. You got to meet some certain metrics first. So we can evaluate that in partnership with the Department of Transportation and see if that's warranted.
Yeah, I think we need to do that. That needs to be done expeditiously as we can, if we can.
And that's part of our normal study.
They have a traffic impact analysis.
Yes, that's part of our normal analysis is to look at traffic counts, traffic patterns, if signals are warranted, turn lanes, decel lanes, etc.
Well, this the thing is like if you're coming out of the entrance over by Old Times, and I think it's Bernard's Jewelry over there, Middle Shop, you'll sit there and you'll wait for at least 5 minutes before you can even get out. So my concern is if they're trying to get out to go to work, and everybody is trying to get out, then it is a little congested. So yeah, just look into that. Get back with us.
Yes,
Any further discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make one comment. It's real easy to sit back and see the solutions that, oh, if they would just do this, it'd make it all better. And I've said those things myself too. But your city is not run by incompetence. There are professionals who are studying these things. There are checks in place. And the more questions I ask, the more I realize that we have professionals doing the best they can to protect and mitigate all these growing pains that we're going through. So yeah, we have the traffic studies are required. And as soon as GDOT says it's approved and we need one, we'll be right there on board trying to make it happen. I share your concerns, but I also want to reassure you that the people who run the city and the engineering and all the folks here are doing the very best they can to look out for all of us. I hope that's of some reassurance. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, any further discussion by council?
May I approach the podium again? Is this appropriate?
It'd be a point of privilege. Great.
Okay, thank you. Again, my name is Sidna Davidson. I live in the Bel Air subdivision. Just a point of reference, and I thank you for speaking up about that. I also teach at Southeast Bullock Middle School, so when I come out of the front entrance, which is across the street from the restaurant you were talking about, Old Times, and turn left, you've got Georgia Southern traffic coming in, and then also I'm going to work, at 7 a.m. It's very difficult to turn left there, so that is definitely a congested area. What we're also seeing in the Bel Air subdivision is traffic coming down our street because of it being more populated there. People take cut-throughs through our neighborhood, and we've had geese have been killed and dogs have been killed, and people speed way past their speed limit coming down. My husband, I think, spoke at a meeting a couple months ago about we had someone put in a speed detective device, which actually slowed the traffic, which was wonderful, but of course it's very temporary. And so the residents in Bel Air have put together a petition asking for speed bumps to be considered there, which would help slow it through the community. Since we're now going to have a population at the other end of the Bel Air subdivision, it would be nice to have that kind of where people are forced to go a little bit slower, so we don't have to see the deaths of our animals and young children. It would be scary if that happened, but just something to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? And we are exercising points of privilege. So since it's not, is there a motion for council to approve with staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Phil, was that a nine? John, was that a nine? Okay. All right. All right, call it. All right, any opposed? All right, seeing that there's none, agenda item 7 has passed. With that being said, I do want to use a point of privilege at this point. Statesboro, we are growing. And we are growing extremely fast. And we are extremely fortunate to have a very, not just professional, but a staff that really knows their area of work. We are in the midst right now of doing a traffic transportation plan that's looking at every road, every sidewalk, bike trails, biking lanes, trails, the whole gamut. My family has been in this community for 200 years. We've been here since 1820. There's nobody that wants to move this community to be safe as possible. But as mayor, what I recognize is that we're growing, new people are coming. And as new people come to our community, we want to make sure that we maintain the integrity of our community and hold fast to the traditional values that got to where we are, but also recognize that there's new generations that's coming as well. This administration alone, we've put millions of dollars into new roads, resurfacing roads, traffic studies, building sidewalks. There's not too many neighborhoods that you can go into this community and not see the work that we're doing. Do we want to go faster? Yes, we do, but it has to be done in order. And the way traffic studies operate is it's based on need. So with that being said, Bel Air, we hear you, we feel you, and we recognize that this growth is uncomfortable, and we are all being affected. But what we ask, and I know this is going to be difficult here in a political climate like this, is that if you don't trust the elected ones, trust the staff, because we are really dedicated to improving this community. But more than that, we're here to hear from the people that we represent. And I think this administration over the past 6 years, we've shown that we've been dedicated to every single citizen in this community. And I do want to address this. We literally just passed a resolution recognizing that this is Fair Housing Month. Everybody that lives in Statesboro, we're not all in the same socioeconomic strata. And the way I've been raised in Statesboro is that everyone is my neighbor. And so because I believe everyone is my neighbor, I believe that we all have the freedom to live wherever we choose to live within this city. And so I stand beside that. Because at the end of the day, what maintains our city is its people. And all of us coming from different walks of life, and Statesboro being different to all of us. But we all make this city up. So it doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor, or you're a student, or you something else in this city. We all make Statesboro up. So when you go to Statesboro High and you sit in that gym, there's 3 words that's up there. And those 3 words read simply this: we are Statesboro. So with that being said, Council, I believe the right decision was made tonight. But please know that your concerns have not fallen on deaf ears. We're here to work with you and every other citizen across the city.
And I couldn't agree more, Mayor. I think that's very appropriate, and I think what brings down value is when we don't respect each other. So thank you for saying that.
Thank you. If you like.
And I need the developer maybe can address to the gentleman's question about the housing. I would simply say to you that there's no indication that this would be subsidized housing. Typically, if there is some subsidized housing, the city would have been put on notice, and there are other processes that you would go through in order to have some assistance. And there's no indication. These are market rate units. So people that can afford, anybody that can afford to pay to live there will be able to do that. So to your question, it's not, I'm concerned about characterizing housing, but there's no indication that this is low income housing.
All right. We'll move down to agenda item 8, recognizing that agenda item 7 is passed. Public hearing consideration of motion to approve items 8A and items 8B. 8A is an application RZ 24-0303. Ogeechee Area Hospice requests a zoning map amendment from the OR 15 Office and Business Single Family Residential zoning district to the O Office and Business zoning district on approximately 0.49 acres of property in order to develop an expansion to the existing hospice business at 1001 East Inman Street. 8B is application 24-03-04. Ogeechee Area Hospice requests a variance from the setback requirements of section 2.3.3- dimensional standards of the Unified Development Code in order to construct a proposed hospice accessory building at 1001 East Inman Street. Kathy, if you will, let's get some insight on both A and B.
Yes, thank you, sir. Did you want to open the public hearing?
Yes, I need to do that, don't I? There's a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, per your request, I'm going to treat both of these applications holistically. Currently, the property is a vacant lot with some parking on East Inman Street. The applicant intends to develop a temporary sleeping quarters building for resident families, and think Ronald McDonald House model, on the location with some additional storage. The adjacent intersection triggers distance requirements for driveways, which will require the building to encroach on the standard setback of the site. And you can see the site outlined in red on East Inman Street. The future land use map shows this to be in an established residential neighborhood character area. The zoning map I don't want to say bisects, but it's really 2/3 of it is in the R15 and 1/3 represented by the purple is in the office district. So it's right against the office district. The subject property is shown on the top left, the property to the east on the bottom right, the property to the north on the top left, and the property to the west on the bottom right. And essentially this shows the outline for the residential building, which is outlined on the left side, and then there's a storage building that's separate, that is on the right side. The staff does recommend approval of RZ 24-03-03 plus V 24-03-04. If this petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated condition. 1, approval of the zoning map amendment does not grant the right to develop on the site without approvals. All construction must be approved by the city. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on October 2nd, 2024, the commission recommended approval of the request and staff conditions upon a 7-0 vote. That is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. Is there anyone here to speak for this request? Before a reasonable.
I think we go doctor.
Okay.
I'm Doug Lambert. I'm president of Ogeechee Area Hospice. As Kathy pointed out, this is a combination of for a better term, Ronald McDonald House, which is a facility that families of people who have patients at Ogeechee Area Hospice can use for to rest or to take a shower or something like that. In addition, we're renting warehouse space all over Statesboro for medical records, and we'd like to build a facility, the storage facility, to keep those on the property. The building would look a lot like what's already there. We'll just share these with you, take a look at these. So it'd be compatible with the existing facility. I'll be glad to answer any questions from them.
Anyone else for?
I'm Jeb Stewart, Maxwell Rake and Associates. We are the engineers that have been asked to help with the design of this. I'm just here to answer any questions that y'all might have about the site layout or the plan in general.
Thank you. Anyone else? For? All right, is there anyone here to speak against? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any council discussion?
Well, I just wanted to say this, one of the things I'm happiest to have been part of was the formation of the first area hospice here. The Ogeechee Area Hospice was formed many years ago, and they provide a wonderful service to the people of Bullock County and surrounding areas. I mean, everybody's going to die at some point, and it's just so nice.
Thanks,
to have
Sharon.
professionals. I'm a fan of Ogeechee Area Hospice, and I'm happy to support their expansion, provide this additional service.
All right. Any further discussion by council? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve per staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item 9, citing that agenda item 8 is passed. We'll go down to agenda item 9, which is a public hearing consideration of a motion to approve application RZ 24-03-05. Burbank Point LLC requests a zoning map amendment from the R15 single family residential zoning district to the R6 single family residential zoning district on approximately 0.32 acres of property in order to develop an infield cottage court at 231 East Main Street. Can we open the public hearing, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Kathy, if you will.
Yes, currently the property is a recently vacated vegetable market. This location is a part of the overall development plan for the surrounding lots on both Hill Street and East Main Street, which have recently been constructed. Due to the lot makeup, the lot will be combined with a portion of the lot to the north, which was initially rezoned to the R6 designation. The construction of this cottage court will trigger the UDC requirement on R6, which will prevent future cottage court developments on R6 lots within this block face. This property is also directly north of the proposed Gordon Street redevelopment project, which was approved before passage of the Unified Development Code. And you can see the parcel on East Main Street outlined in red. The future land use map shows this to be within the neighborhood center character area. The current zoning shows the R15 current zoning. The subject property is on the top left. Property to the east on the bottom right. Property to the west on the top left, and property to the south on the bottom right. Now this shows the site plan for the cottage court, and I think this is a fine example of an infill cottage court development. And you can see the other newly developed houses surrounding it. Staff recommends approval of RZ 24-02-01. If this petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. 1, approval of the zoning map amendment does not grant the right to develop on the site without approvals. All construction must be approved by the city. 2, all cottage court developments must meet the requirements of section 2.4.2 of the Statesboro Unified Development Code. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on April 2nd, 2024, the Commission recommended approval of the request and staff conditions upon a 7-0 vote. That is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Was there anyone here to speak for this request?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of council. My name is Hayden Rollins with Hussey Gay Bell, and I'm here on behalf of the developer. Ms. Fields gave a good summary, but I'll be here to answer any questions of the staff or members of council or Mr. Mayor. If you have any questions, I'll be here for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here for? All right, is there anyone here to speak against the development? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We want to open it up for council discussion.
Looks good.
That's great.
I appreciate the note from the engineer, though, that we need to get the traffic in a different direction, because you don't need 8 new houses trying to come out of that one lot right on the East Main Street. So I'm glad staff noted that. We'll be working with the developer to turn it around some way.
Any further discussion by council? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close? In council discussion, and ask for a vote. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye. Yeah, aye.
Okay. All right, you got it, Lee? Okay. All right, moving on to agenda item 10, which is a public hearing consideration of a motion to approve an application for an alcohol license in accordance with the City of Statesboro Alcohol Ordinance, Section 6-13, Azul Tex-Mex Express LLC at 408 South Main Street, Statesboro, Georgia 30458. The license type is restaurant. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Is there anyone here to speak for this? Anyone here to speak against? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
I saw a hand on the back right.
Against?
No, in favor.
In favor? Oh, come on. I'm sorry, we will move along.
No, you're fine. My name is Lorena Cisneros, and I'm one of the owners of Azul Tex-Mex.
Okay.
I just came here to listen and to see what was going to go on, and just if you would consider us, and I saw that y'all did. And
Okay.
thank you.
All right,
If you haven't been there.
All right, get my food ready.
Yeah. But that was it. That was it.
Absolutely, good
Thank
deal.
you.
Well, let us pass it before we congratulate you.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, seeing that there was none against, is the motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any discussion by council?
Where is this in the, where is this?
I've heard great things about it.
Where
It's
is it?
in the
It's
train.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cross from Elson?
Yeah.
yeah.
On the railroad track, Fair
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Is it where, it is an ice cream shop?
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
Okay, got you.
Right there.
Mhm.
Okay, so,
If it's a restaurant, it's indoor seating, then it's big enough to have folks inside, it's not like the walk-up.
Yeah.
it's the one
It's-
outside.
It's outdoor
It's
seating.
outside, it's outside.
It's outdoor seating.
There's outdoor seating though. There's two buildings and then you have one with the restroom, outdoor seating and then the.
So it's indoor and outdoor?
No.
They done a lot of work. I've seen to make it outdoor.
Come on up, come on, come on, come on.
Come back and tell us about it, please.
Yeah.
So, we are where Blue Mile Pizza used to be.
Mm-hmm.
408 South Main Street. We have two buildings. The first one is, that's our kitchen. And then the second one that is on the left side, that is where the bar is gonna be. But it's gonna be more of like a walk-up bar. And we have like a little patio area. We're working on getting somebody to build us a roof. That way when weather gets bad, we can still have a lot of people dine in. Almost like their sur type of thing where they're outside. And
Is this where the, snow cone?
yes.
Yeah.
Used to
Yeah, it
be?
used to be a lot of places.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Is that it?
So the restaurant designation means that a larger percentage of the sales are anticipated to be from food than alcohol, is that right?
Yes.
So it's not indoor?
It's outdoor.
Yeah,
Mhm.
outside. Mhm.
Got you.
All right, go ahead.
That's it. Oh, thank you.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move down to agenda item 11, public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2024-09, a resolution to transmit the Statesboro Comprehensive Plan to the Coastal Regional Commission for a 40-day commitment and review period. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Kathy?
Yes, sir. Here's the plan. It's 95 pages, it's done. And we will transmit it to all the stakeholders tonight. And we are making arrangements to put it on the front page of our website, so it's readily accessible to everyone to review. And we're very proud of it, and it will be done in time. It'll come back to you, your second meeting in June, I believe, is how we've scheduled that. And we need to have it done by July 1st, so we're plenty of time. So, anyway, any other questions? I'm happy to answer them.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right, and this is a public hearing, and so is there anyone to speak for the comprehensive plan? Anyone to speak against the comprehensive plan? Saying that there is none, is the motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any council discussion? Thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 12, citing that 11 is passed. Consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2024-10, a resolution authorizing destruction of certain municipal records. Mr. Payne.
Mayor, I really can't add a lot. We have records that have outlived their usefulness and in compliance with the records we're recommending that we be allowed to dispose of. And recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Any discussion by council? Saying that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 13, consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2024-11, a resolution to recertify the city of Statesboro as a Georgia certified city of ethics. Mr. Payne, if you can give us some insight.
Mayor and council, you're asking to be recertified, and basically, there are five things that this city council, by approving this, you're saying that you agree that you serve others, not ourselves.
Hold on, Mr. Payne.
Sorry, not to steal your thunder. The mayor and I talked about, I wanted to read it out so everybody knows what we're. I just think it's nice for us to remind ourselves and the folks who are listening that we're doing this again. We're renewing. We agreed when the Georgia Municipal Association invited cities to consider adopting this code of ethics. We unanimously agreed to do so. And by doing so, we are resolving as the governing authority of the city of Statesboro that as a group and as individuals, we're going to subscribe to the following ethics principles and pledges in order to conduct our affairs. We're going to serve others, not ourselves. We're going to use resources with efficiency and economy. We're going to attempt to treat all people fairly. We're going to use the power of our position for the well-being of our constituents. And we attempt to create an environment of honesty, openness, and integrity. So that's what we're voting to do.
And we stand beside.
And I apologize for getting there.
Chief. With that being said, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. We move down to agenda item 14, which is consideration of motion to approve ordinance 2024-02, recodification of Article 4, noise of Chapter 38.
Mayor and Council, as we discussed in the work session, when the Unified Development Ordinance was adopted, inadvertently, we left out the noise ordinance. So right now, we really don't have on record a noise ordinance. And so what we're recommending tonight is that council re-adopt on this reading the noise ordinance so we have it in place. But we're also bringing to your attention that staff believes we need to look at it and possibly recommend some changes to you, but that will be at a future date. So tonight, all we're just asking you to do is to reapprove the previous ordinance so that we have an ordinance on the book, and we recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, one question for Mr. Penny. Would we need to make a motion also under section 2-2-4 just for formalities, or is that necessary?
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ben Perkins is our attorney standing in for our city attorney, King Smith.
So we will, is there a motion to utilize section?
Yes, sir, section 2-2-4E.
The motion is to suspend the rules for this particular line item.
Yeah.
And it needs to be a unanimous 5-0 vote, correct?
Yes, sir, under section 2-2-4.
Okay.
And John,
I'll make the motion.
All right, citing that, Fields, are you making the motion?
Yes.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it is passed unanimously. All right, and we'll come back to agenda item 4. Is there a motion to, 14, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to approve it, but I'd also like to direct staff, as they said, that the ordinance needs updating. I'd like to go ahead and, in addition to approving the ordinance, direct staff to go ahead and work on a modification of the ordinance to update it.
So staff is ready. It's in process already, Phil.
Okay.
All right, good deal, thank you. All right, all those in favor? Did we get
Who was first and who was second? Because we had one motion on the floor, and then Phil said he was gonna do a motion.
Phil motioned it, and it was a second, and I believe the second come from my lips.
Second.
Oh, yeah. All right, and then it was a unanimous vote.
I was number 3.
Come on. All right, good deal. All right, and so we move down to agenda item 15, which is consideration of a motion to approve a 50-year ground lease with the Food Bank Incorporated for 3.75 acres located on the intersection of Northside Drive and Mill Street. Mr. King.
Mayor, members of the council, we are working in conjunction with Bullock County and the Food Bank And in order for the food bank to be able to secure financing for some portion of the completion of the construction, we need to have this ground lease in place, and the bank is asking for it. We discussed previously the conditions of the ground lease, which in effect, the city would be in second position behind a financial institution, and also the bank would be listed on any insurance, just in case anything should happen to the improvements to that property. And so we do recommend your approval so that they can secure financing.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We'll move down to agenda item 16, consideration of a motion to conditionally approve an application submitted by Centurion Property 111 South LLC, doing business as South Apartments, for funding under the Security Enhancement Incentive Program in the amount of $19,969.50, subject to the fulfillment of all eligibility requirements. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, several months ago, you approved about $80,000 for security enhancement, and this is actually the first grant application that we received. And so the cost for this security enhancement, the cameras and all, was about almost $40,000. So this is 50% of the cost. We're bringing it forward to you tonight for you to approve the first grant, but also recognizing there may be some things where when people apply for these grants, they may have some financial commitment that they have to the city that they have not fulfilled. So we're asking you to approve this, but also recognizing until all those commitments are fulfilled, we will not be providing any funding to them. And we do recommend approval. And I do also want to just recognize Olympia and Chief for their hard work in being able to bring this forward to you tonight.
Okay. Thank you. And we appreciate you guys. Any discussion by council?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor. I remember us doing this, and I'm so glad somebody's finally taking advantage. But I didn't remember. Didn't we have a dollar limit on it? Did we say up to 20,000? Or is there?
Yes, it's up to, it's 50% of 19C between.
Thank you.
So they're right there.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. No further discussion. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're at agenda item 17, consideration of a motion to approve an award of contract to Hudson and Public Contractors in the amount of $131,530 for the Avid Center for the Arts for Cade renovation. If approved, this project will be funded using 2019 SPLOST funds. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, this is the second time we've gone out for bids for this. I think the exterior of the building, we have some issues with stucco. And so we're recommending approval of this bid and awarding it to Hudson and Hubbard Contractors to get this work done. I recommend approval.
Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move down to agenda item 18, consideration of a motion to execute a professional services agreement with Hussey Gay Bell Engineering Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $374,100 to provide design, bid, and contract administration services for the extension of sanitary sewer and water to the Bunkhouse Road / Railroad Bed Road area to be paid for with operating revenues in 2019 SPLOST as approved in capital improvement projects WWD-196 and WWD-197. Mr. King.
Mayor, members of the council, as we talked at the council retreat and talked about how we will grow, we talked about our natural growth areas. And this area going out Burkhalter is a growing area. And so in order to make our infrastructure accessible, we do recommend approval of this contract, but recognize that this project including water and sewer, is a project that is estimated to be over $4 million. And again, it is a project that is important to just growing our community, getting good housing on the ground in Statesboro. We have a demand, but we have very low inventory. And so Hussey Gaybell is our engineer of record, and they bring forth this proposal. They are in the audience if you had any questions. But we do recommend approval so we can move forward with extending, getting the design for extending water and sewer into that area so we can serve those properties.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All right, let's move on to agenda item 19, which is other business for city council. Any business for city council?
That's all I can
That they can learn in the council as well.
Okay, I was wondering about resource day. We got another one May 4 for the next. Did you find out? We'll publicize. There's not one.
Correct. We're working on the schedule.
Okay.
Okay.
There's not one. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything further from council? All right, seeing that there's none, well, you know what? Well, Mr. Penny, I know you're gonna do it. Go ahead. City manager's comment. Thursday. You got something going on Thursday? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Nah, Olivia got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor, members of the council, the one item that I do want to bring to your attention. Yeah. The one item I want to bring to your attention is it's time to do our budget. It seems like we just got the last budget approved. However, we need to schedule our budget work session. So we're recommending a budget work session on May the 14th at 2:00 p.m. from 2 to 6 in the council chambers. And then at the first meeting in June, I think we'll have a public hearing for the adoption of that budget. And then the public hearing, and then I think you'll approve it at the second meeting in June. And so if you would go ahead and put that on your calendar for May the 14th.
What time is it?
2 o'clock.
2 to 6.
14.
14.
May 14th.
Thank you.
May 14th. The second item is this week we kick off our second year of Downtown Alive at 7:00 p.m. And I do want to thank Olympia. She's been really good about championing and making sure she pulled all our partners together. And so this Thursday, we kick it off with the TAMs at 7:00. So we adjusted the time, and hopefully as we get deeper into the summer, 7:00 is a little bit cooler than 6:00, but when it's 90 degrees versus 95 degrees, I don't know that makes a lot of difference. But we have 8 concerts this year. And so we invite everybody to come down. Everybody seemed to have a great time. Now, last year when we did it, all the students from Georgia Southern were gone. So it'd be interesting to see how, I know they might not know beach music, but the TAMs, they weren't born when the TAMs were a hot item, but maybe they'll come out and enjoy the TAMs on this coming Thursday.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question, Matt? I appreciate all the work and I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy to hear about Kids Zone. Where is that going to be? Tell us
It's gonna be
more.
in the city's parking lot,
The city parking lot behind the building here?
adjacent, right in front of City Hall.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have activities and games for kids.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought of one more thing I wanted to highlight. The tree board has a vacancy. Anybody else who cares about trees and wants to serve on the tree board for the city of Statesboro, that watch your Facebook or watch the city website, because we'll be opening up application process for that later this month. Right, Bill?
Yep, next
Yeah.
month, the 22nd.
If you live in Statesboro or Bullock County, and want to help preserve trees, consider applying to serve on that board.
Mayor, can I do one thing?
Go ahead.
And I just want to call to your attention, the Georgia Southern Rental Agreement. It's in your FYI packet, and this is for the big, and so, they just putting us on notice, that they like our rental rate, and they want to take advantage of that.
Okay. Good. All right, we'll move down, to agenda item 21, which is public comments. Will there be any public comments?
Yeah, so I had,
Yep. Come on, come on down.
this was more of a question than a comment, regarding the recodification of the noise ordinance. Specifically to you, Mayor McCullough, how do you think that the lack of ordinance on record that we had up until tonight, could have affected possibly Greek life, from Georgia Southern University had they known and maybe taken advantage of the lack of ordinance?
Well, I'm about to give you the most political answer.
I can't wait for it.
That is absolutely speculative, and I don't know exactly how they could have taken advantage of that. But with that being said, tonight we've re-administered the noise ordinance, and so we would like for the folks on Brick Road to enjoy themselves, but only to a minute.
Of course.
What's your name?
Paul Jarrett.
Okay, Paul Jarrett. Okay, good. All right. Any further public comments? I see.
Arts Fest.
Yeah. Well, we got a public comment right here.
How y'all doing? This is my first one. I'm Raymond D. Gordon.
Okay.
And I don't live here in Statesboro, but I have property here. And you were talking about the application about the trees. If you have property here, could you,
I think the way the ordinance is written, you have to be a resident, a legal resident of Statesboro, Bullock County, is that right?
That I do not know.
Okay,
I'm
we'll have
sorry.
to check on it, but I think that's how it's written. Because we've had folks out of town before applying.
Yeah. If you will leave your information with our city clerk, and we'll follow back up.
okay.
My wife over there. I can tell who she was by the way she was sitting beside me. I think she liked you.
So, Mr. Mayor, the other thing we can tell you is that these meetings are always open to the public, even if your residency doesn't allow you to serve as a voting member, you are very welcome to attend and come in and work with the projects that are going on. All of the city's boards and commissions are open to the public. So other folks who are willing to be supportive are invited to attend.
Oh, you all gonna start seeing us a lot.
Good deal. Good deal. It's good to see you.
Whenever. Mayor, you want?
Yeah. All right, and so, we do. All right. And we have, Mike Price, that's on the agenda. Mr. Price?
Mayor and council, I want to clarify a zoning that you made. This was made in, there's off-street parking requirements by use. It's a 6.8.6, and this requirement was, and I own a company in town called Cotton Star. Okay, and I've run into problems over and over again, and I need to address this with you guys. Okay. This ordinance says that automobile service stations, automobile service businesses, auto, truck repair, maintenance, 3 spaces for each service bay plus 1 space for each 200 square feet of gross floor area devoted to retail sales or to showrooms. There is a company next door to me. It's on the corner of Parrish and Main. I've been going on for 6 years now. And my problem is that the people in there, in that store, if anybody rides by there, they will see it. It's jam-packed every single day. But the problem is, I own a place next door to it that has plenty of room. The problem is, not only public safety, But because they're overpacking the area, they're having wrecks, which this has already been established. The problem here is that what I'm complaining about is that the cars, when they can't get enough cars in their area, they put them over in the mine. This is not the man that owns it, but it's people that's coming in, and the things and what I did, I put signs all up and down the fence that said, "Do not park here." Doesn't do any good. To be honest with you, I've probably done some things that I shouldn't have done, and I did. And what I did was I blocked these people in my place, and I called the record, and I called the police department too. And each time they say I have to move the cars and let them out, which I do. I don't mind doing that. But here's the problem. The amount of cars that they have that patronize World's Best Auto is too many cars, and they can't put them on the lot, so the people park in my parking lot. And the one thing they say is, they tell me two or three things. First of all, they'll say, "Well, I thought there's a fence there. There's a fence around it, so they know I put that fence up so they'd be different than we are." But what they do is the customers, or I don't know who it is that does it, but the customers come and park in my parking lot. I explain to them that this is private parking and they can't park here. They either use some language that shouldn't be used or something along that. I've gone over and addressed it with the man. Now, Officer Benjamin Brooks has sent them a letter of compliance and asked them to not use that property. But the truth is, and I'm just going to face it like this with you, if you owned a piece of property and you had 5 acres of land, and the next door neighbor to you has 1/4 of an acre, and he has 7 cars, and he decides that he wants to park on your property because he doesn't have enough room to park on his property, so he sends all his neighbors that come to visit him to park in your parking lot. You would be absolutely, you'd say, "Hey, you can't do this." "Well, I don't have enough room in my parking lot, so I'm sorry, but this is where we're going to park it." I bought a business there, and it was going good until this place moved in. And what it's done, it's not only done that, but it's brought the property in that area down. I work hard to make if you go into my business, you will see how clean it is. And when somebody parks a business next to you and just downgrades your business, it really it infuriates you, and you think to yourself, "I've worked hard to see your trash on my property, till I see your customers coming on my property because there's not enough room on your property to park." I would ask anybody to come by and just look at that piece of property and see how jam-packed. They've got sometimes 15 to 20 cars on that lot, and there's not even enough room to even park on there, and they still bring them in. I'm not against the man having a business. I'm against him parking on my property or letting his customers park on my property and take up my valuable parking space because they don't have enough room over there. I put everything out that I can to try to rectify this problem, and it has absolutely failed.
Okay.
And
So, Mr. President, let us get the staff on this. We'll jump on this.
I do appreciate it. Thank you for
No
hearing me.
problem. All right, thank you. All right. Anyone else for public comments? All right, seeing that there is none, we'll move down to agenda item 22, which is consideration of a motion to enter into executive session. This evening's executive session is for real estate. All right, and so that is in accordance with OCGA 50-14-3B. All right, is there a motion to go into, is there a vote to go into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
So, yeah, I gotta go.